So my first impression after watching the premiere of American Horror Story Cult is that this season really is pulling for the controversial card here to get those ratings way up again. Seems like making any political stance this strong, it will divide the audience of the show and probably lose a lot of viewers in that sense. But it's also going to gain some because people out of curiosity just want to know what everyone's talking about the show. And this kind of episode is what causes people to talk about a show they might not even watch. It felt a little too on the nose in the beginning with the whole election night, and I kind of like when they allude to stuff in shows about topics that are current, but this is like really current. Like this is right now current. So it feels kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about watching a show like that, to be honest. I wasn't crazy about the character with the blue hair who's like the Joker-esque type played by Evan Peters. I think he's the perfect guy for the type of role, but that type of role was a little confusing in the beginning. I didn't know if he was a Trump supporter or not, and then he turns out he is. But some parts of him don't seem like someone would support Trump, and then some parts do. So it felt like they didn't even know that character, how they wanted it to be, so I wasn't so crazy about that. Sarah Paulson, regular on American Horror Story, again, great acting performance on her part this episode. She was especially great in those grocery store scenes, and that was probably the strongest part of this episode, I thought, was her kind of losing her mind and not knowing if she's really seeing these clowns or not. But the only thing that annoyed me about all that was just take your meds. You know, I don't want to be Mr. Realistic all the time watching a show, but the way they're pitching it and they show her talking to her therapist is like, just take your meds. It'll help. It clearly is going to help those episodes. So if she takes her meds, then she'll know if she's freaking out or not and seeing clowns. So that's kind of asking a lot of the audience. That kind of pissed me off a bit. And a lot of this has been done before in horror, especially now with Alison Pye, the wife. She's the perfect character to not believe anything her wife says. And then let's take the other classic thing overdone where the kid is actually seeing the clowns for real and no one's going to believe him because his mom's crazy and now he's going to look crazy. So, I mean, it's a lot of stuff we've seen before. And, of course, there's the lying nanny who's just like, no, your kid's lying. Everything's fine. Come on. This is getting lazy to me. And the writing's getting lazy also in the sense of you're bringing back Twisty the Clown from Freak Show and you're bringing back all these clowns. But it's like recycling. Are you running out of ideas for this? I thought this show was supposed to be a lot different each season. Now they're like, okay, we're going to bring in stuff from other seasons. But if you're going to keep doing jumping out clowns, this episode is the whole tactic to make people scared. You already did that a whole season. So it feels weird. It just feels a lot of not knowing who it wants to be. It feels rushed. It feels like it's clickbait of a show, if that makes any sense. That Cheetos scene was weird. I didn't like him rubbing his fingers and putting on his face. That was weird. It was so, like, even just every line, like, ever since election night, like, it was so just easy and too easy to create. Wherever you stand politically, it was frustrating to watch because it was just, like, rolling your eyes city. It was forgetting to be a show. It was more of just being a political statement and here's some little spooks from a previous season to wrap up the premiere as a whole if someone asked me. So again, I was still entertained, so I'm not going to totally bash it. And again, the acting was really good on all parts. I thought I enjoyed everyone's performances. I mean, there's still potential here if they can go into that cult vibe that they're trying to get to and make it interesting and give it a little more suspense. We'll see what happens. But overall, I'm going to give this episode a 7. I almost want to give it a 6, but I'll give it a 7 because, again, there were some enjoyable horror elements. Even though we've seen it with the clowns, they still worked. And the pacing was good, certain parts. I was still entertained. I was not zoning out, which is good. So, give it a 7, but it wasn't great. Definitely not memorable. Definitely too on the nose, too easy, too trying to be trend-worthy. So, we'll see what the season brings us. My name is Steve Varley. Please subscribe and comment below with your thoughts on the episode. I respond to everybody. Please tell me if you agree with me, disagree with me, if I'm an idiot, if you like what I said. I'll take anything. And I'll be reviewing every episode of American Horror Story this season, so check that out. And I also do other shows like Preacher, Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, you name it. I do movies and celebrity interviews. So please keep coming back for more. And follow @SteveVarley1 on Twitter and Instagram.